Hello everyone. Well, we're going to start with the next kit that I mentioned last month. We might be producing this month, and since the lady have chose to do it, I thought this would be a good time to do the assembly one. So we are going to start with what's called a floating card. It's called floating because you're going to make two different edges and you'll be putting something in the middle that looks like things are floating on it. If you were using like acetate, that would be the primary. So you're taking a normal 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, just like we normally do to make our bases. I'm going to be cutting that at 5.5 and scoring it at 4.25, which gives us our regular base. So with that regular base, I am going to be cutting off 2 3/4, leaving the card base that you'll be getting. Then I'm going to cut this piece down to 1.5. Which will be forming your bottom portion of your floating card. Then at this point, if you were reproducing this for another card, what you could do is take what I've seen done is put an acetate piece back here. So when you build upon it, it looks like the items are floating. What we are going to do, you're going to be included, I'm giving you a glitter panel. So you'll be taking your glitter panel and lining it up with the base, your base, like that. Then you'll be taking glue and putting glue on this part and bringing it down and adhering. Then you'll take the cut off piece, put glitter on the or glue on the back of that, and adhere that or tape, whatever your medium is, to that the bottom of that glitter. That will turn this into a panel that moves. Okay. Then after you've got this adhered, you will be taking your sled and gluing it down. Oh, no, you won't. You're going to take your 1.5 by 4, 5.25 layers and gluing those down first. Then after you have your layers glued down, you'll be taking your sled and adhering it. Then you're going to take this large snowflake that I'm including and gluing it down. Then you're going to get a couple little snowflakes. I would glue the darker one down first and then offset the silver one. Then you'll have an embellishment that you'll be putting on here. Also, I'm going to be giving you the iridescent facet gems. They look like little snowflakes. They're really cute. And I placed on my card, I put one here and one here. And then I will include a banner that you can stamp a message on, and I put one over the hole like that. So the final card looks a lot like this. Now, when I made my first card, I used a background that had a lot of snowflakes on it, but I didn't care for the edge. So then I thought I'd change that out. And I used, from the stamp set that we're using, I used the wording, yay all the way. But you do you. You put whatever you want on that particular one. Remember, I don't do your stamping, and I let you turn this into a card, whatever kind of card you choose, whether it's for a birthday, whatever. But it's easy to assemble, and that is the way you assemble it. The paper I used is a discontinued paper. I used it's from a glimmer packet, but you could use, to reproduce and make your own cards, you can use anything. So the next card I did was what they call a stack and cut card. And this stack and cut card takes, you take 3 papers. I happen to use the papers from the Take a Bow papers. I chose 3 different ones. We did these in a retreat recently, and that's where this pattern came from. So I took 3 papers, I cut them down to 5¼ by 4, stacking them all together. I cut it down the middle at 2 inches, and then I cut off about a 1 3/4 inch piece, putting that here and putting the remainder there. So you have 3 different patterns. You cut them all at the same time, and then you sort them out just so that you have different colors to fit. So your base will be different. Okay. So then what I did with this base after doing that, I took a label from, it's called Greetings of the Season. I took the big tag label and cut something, and I used a shimmer paper, but you can use whatever kind of paper you want. While I'm here, I might as well say for that last card, I used this die, and for a card coming up, I used the circular die. So this one came in very handy. So after you glue this, don't glue this down until you run your ribbon through it. There's a hole there for the tag. So you run your ribbon through that. And then after you get that run through there, I took the red and tied around it, making it hold together like with a little bow there. Then I adhered that down, putting my sled on it. Then I put my bows on it. And then I took some peppermint embellishments, which you will get in your kit, and put them around. I also put some silver baubles on there. You can take and make this a birthday or a Christmas card, whatever you want. You can add your own banners with your own sayings. That kit goes together quite easily. Remember, with the embellishments, I make one bag that has embellishments for all of the cards, and you just separate them out. So the next card I did was from a sketch from Don Griffith. And I took that sketch and cut a card base, just like we normally do, the 8½ by 5½ card base. Then I took 5¼ by 4 inch white piece of paper. I took the paint, what is this called? It's in Painted Trees. The tree folder. Let's see, what's that called? That is called, yeah, it is called Painted Trees. So I took that. I laid it in this way because I wanted the texture. I wasn't worried about the tree part. I just liked all the texture in the background. So that is your top layer. Then I took papers that I happened to pull out of the Winter Meadow 12 by 12 sheets. There's a lot of good paper in there, and so this one had trees, because what I used in the original card, these trees, that paper's discontinued, and I didn't have enough to do all the kits that were put on my orders. So I switched it out to that one. And this is a lovely paper. These are cut, better not go off my memory. These are cut at 2 3/4, I think, by so you're gonna, yeah, you cut 2. You're going to need 3 of these. Cut it 2 by 2 3/4. I was right. And then you're going to layer them down. You can have 3 the same. You can have different papers and using up scraps. But what I did is I used that. I did all 3 the same, and then I just flipped it over since our papers are. Sorry, my cough has not left me completely. As I said, we are using the sophisticated sleds. There's a die in there that's meant to cut out this stamped image. I used it and cut out a background to my sled. So your sled is going to be popped up on this just to give it a base. Then you will be taking, there will be a ribbon in there and hooking your sleds down on that. And then I took, what I used in this one is a die that came out of the Encircled in Nature. After I did it, which we often do, I took a look at it and went, oh, I did this for a sketch challenge. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, so I backed up. On yours, I just found some boughs, and I cut 4 boughs out for you. So you'll be laying your boughs in there. And then you'll lay this bough on top, and there'll be an embellishment for the middle. Underneath that will go the strings. And then from that same greetings, what was that? Greetings of the season dies. I cut the little one out. I put Let It Snow, but you can stamp whatever you want on there. And that completes that card. It's a very simple card made from a sketch, which I love sketches. Okay. Then another card you're going to get is this pink one. Well, I say pink, but it's really fresh freesia is what that coloring is. It's more of a purple. I don't know why I think of it as pink. So you'll be getting a normal 8.5 by 5.5 card, scored in 4 1/4 in the middle. And then this layer, the original sketch for this one, this layer was 3 1/4 by 4, but you can make this any size you want. So when these kits came in, I do not own this swirly embossing folder, but I really like it. And I thought it would be great as if the snow is swirling around. So I did that, but I had made a few of these, but since I don't own it, I didn't have enough to fill all the kits. So I took and cut them a little bit different. And I think that's, the creativity part of doing cards. It will work out fine in the long run. So then I took a piece of glitter paper, and this runs 1 by 4 inches, and then I bannered it. Then in the original, I used a plain silver, but in this one that I'm going to give you, I did a piece that's a 1/2 inch by 4, and that gets laid down. And then there's a piece of soft seafoam that's 3/4 by 3.5. Then you take your sled, stuck to it. There will be a string on there, and you're going to be taking your skates and hooking it to that and then cutting it down so that it looks like that. Then you'll be getting a bow, which will go over, and then you'll just put your ribbon and cut that down so that your final, and then I'll give you some little embellishments for that. So your final will look like this, very similar to this. Very easy. And there again, another sketch done by Dawn. And then the last card is a little bit more work, but very easy to do. You're taking another 8.5 by our typical 11, and you're going to be cutting at 4 1/4. And then I've seen people do it different ways, but the way Rachel did it was she went ahead and laid this at 10 7/8. And took off just a little, oops, wrong one. Took off a little bit. And so that's what I'm going to do. So then you will bring this to 5.5 and score it. And then I scored it at 8 3/4. Then I turned it around and I found the middle of this, which is 2 1/8. And I took a pen and I marked it. Then from the marked spot to the folded, the creased area, you're going to line those up and cut your triangle, the first part of your triangle. Then you're going to take and go from that same line to the other part of your crease paper, lining those up. And forming the rest of your triangle. And then folding this and creasing it. You'll have your card base that you get in your kit. But that shows you how to do it. We did this with the Christmas cards also not very long ago in the last kit. So this is how I did it. Okay, so this gives you your card base. Then what I did, and what this was from, I cased this from Rachel Tessman. She did this very recently. She used the papers from Thoughtful Journey 6x6. I loved it. So this is almost identical to what she did. It's because it turned out so pretty. So she cut this at 4 inches and then cut them, and then cut the 4-inch pieces at 3. And with the top piece, she said you could use more of the paper. I chose not to. So I just cut that down to 4 inches, then I cut it at 3, and then with the piece that was left over, I cut it there again, so that this was the piece that was left over from here, but I cut it down to the 4 inches. So what's going to happen is when you get your pieces, you're going to glue this piece in here. You're going to glue this piece in there. Then there will be a white piece that comes with it. This one is 3 1/8 by 4. So that goes there. And then your 2 by 4-inch piece is going to go here. And what I did, I took the stamp set and I stamped on this part here, the skates. That's just what I did. I took that and stamped that part. And then I took and lined up the skates. You didn't need to do that extra step. I just kind of liked the way this is. The stamp set I will have in class, so you can use that. So after that is done, you're going to take and put glue on this part here, but only, you're going to leave a little bit of an edge because you want a little frame. And then you'll lay this piece down, leaving that little edge. Then you're going to take the silver piece I give you, and you're going to glue that, center that and glue it. Then you're going to have a white piece, and that's going to get there. The white piece, the blue piece is 3 by 3 square. The silver is 2 3/4 square, and the white one is just a little bit, 1/8 of an inch shorter than that. I took that piece, laid it in the painted trees, and just kind of, I wanted texture. So I laid it in so I would get the most texture I could get. Then you'll take your sled and glue your sled down. I will include a banner that you could put whatever you want. I put Let It Snow on there, and then I cut it down so I could banner it so that the finished card looked like this. And you put whatever message you want in it. And that is your finished card. Nice thing, like Rachel said, is you get to see this part. You get to see the trees on the inside also. And that completes the last card. I will have in class the stamp sets so that if you want to use my message, you can. Otherwise, use your own stamps. Do you. Because I don't know if you're going to use them for Christmas or if you want to use them for birthdays. I love the stamp set and the dies. I've used them quite a bit. So that's what we enjoyed doing for this one. I just want to remind you, for our first week in December class, we are going to do, like I showed last time, we are going to use the shepherd stamp and do a card with that. We're going to do another decorative tree card. And then on top of that, I added one chicken scratch, I think, is who just did this card. And I thought this is a great way to use up scraps. So we won't be using these same papers because I'm using scraps and I don't have enough for class. But we are going to stack these and make this pretty card. Very simple. I did an embossed background with just an embossing folder I had. And it's just something you can do. So this is our class for Monday, or for the first week in December. And I think that takes care of covering how to make all of the cards and how to assemble those. All of them are very easy to do. And if you have any questions, you can always ask me when you pick up your kit or contact me later. So thank you for joining me and have a good day.